Real quick, just want to let you know how incredible this episode is going to be. I know you'll absolutely love it. Today, I sit down with an amazing client who has successfully transformed his fitness journey mentally, physically, emotionally, and built some incredible habits, losing 30 pounds as a new parent, and just being able to work through different struggles and overcome different obstacles. I promise you, you will absolutely be able to learn something from this episode. So sit back, relax, enjoy as we talk a lot about mindset, how to stay on track with a busy job, traveling, being a new parent, and all that great stuff. So enjoy, and thank you so much for listening. Now into the episode. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. It is your host, Coach KG, here with a special guest.
Caleb, and I am in North Carolina.
And he is in the house in North Carolina, and we're so happy to have him here. As you saw, I did a little intro beforehand, just welcoming him to the podcast here. So we're so excited to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and really excited to kind of share my journey and how it can inspire other people to strive for their goals.
Yeah, awesome. So you've obviously done some great things, losing roughly 30 pounds so far. And I want to take a step back to like when you started, kind of like the moment that you decided that you wanted to change your health and fitness. Like, what did that exactly look like?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I think to kind of touch on that, we're going to go a little further back. Fitness is cyclical, and I think that's one of those things that a lot of people don't understand. Different phases of life, there's different goals, there's different things you want to achieve. And for me, when I was younger in high school and even before that, I always kind of struggled with being a little overweight, just a little pudgy. And so I had an unhealthy idea or an unhealthy relationship, if you will, with fitness, right? Like I was always like, those are the fit people. I'm the pudgy person. And as I went through high school, some of that changed, right? Like I did cross country, became a runner. But what really changed for me is kind of as I got older, and when I started junior college, I realized like nobody's here to tell me what to do, right? Like it's on
Mhm.
me at the end of the day to kind of take charge of my health. And so I kind of did what a lot of young men do in school, like started lifting, but it was inconsistent and it wasn't, the passion wasn't there for it. I was kind of developing at kind of like that early 20s phase. Around 2020, I started listening actually to this podcast. I got to the point of like, hey, what are the top podcasts? Where can I really take charge of my fitness? And I kind of went along this journey of kind of exploring what fitness means to me and what it looks like to me. And through that journey, things happened. I got married. I've been married now for 7 years. We've had a kid. And through that cycle, I mean, y'all, like I have been through it all. I have gained weight. I have lost weight. I started my fitness journey, like I said, in 2020. And honestly, I got to the point after my son was born to where I kind of looked in the mirror and was like, oh no, like I put on the dad bod, right? Like I was running full clip to what we would consider the standard American diet kind of body. And I just realized, I'm sitting there holding my son and I'm thinking, I'd like to spend a lot of time with this kid, right? Like
Mhm.
I want to, be able to play with his kids and potentially his grandkids one day. And so I started that journey of kind of cutting. At the time, I was at about 235, and it was pretty heavy for me. I'm about 6'3", 6'4", but it was not muscle. And so what I started doing was, I started re-listening to the podcast. I started dialing in. I lost about 10 pounds on my own, and I realized it was time to kind of go into the next level. And that's where I reached out to y'all and started working with Coach Jason. And, we've been working together for almost a year at this point.
Dude, that's amazing. So obviously a big catalyst to that was just, the young one, right?
Yep.
How did that like kind of shift like your motivation and approach to fitness? So obviously you had a lot of thoughts of like wanting to be there for longer, but
Yeah.
day to day, like you'd say that pushed you quite a bit to keep showing up for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing, again, kind of going back to those early 20s, I was doing it for me. It's another thing when you're trying to be the best version of yourself for people that are more important to you than yourself. And having a child really changed that for me. So every morning I'm up at 4:15. I get to the gym. I get my workout in. I have a quote that I've kind of coined. It's never let failure be the reason you don't succeed. I've had my off days. Like we're in this challenge. I've had, struggles through this, but never let one failure be the reason you don't succeed. Get up. It's the little things we do consistently that add to big changes. And when I look back, right now my goals are to be training for my grandkids, which sounds like really backwards. I'm only 28. Um, but that's a focus point for me, right? Like I
Yeah.
want to be around for the long haul and I want to be able to do the things I love into my 70s and 80s. So that's kind of where my focus is now, as a young man.
I think that's so great because even when I give advice to people, I can't give someone a specific like reason for them to show up. When you have that deep why, like, someone can come up to you and say, "Hey, I think you should build muscle. Hey, I think you should power lift." Whatever it is, like that's not going to push you. It's like that
Right.
deep desire to show up consistently, to not hit that snooze button at 4:15 each morning, and you found your deep why. So I think that's incredible. But
Absolutely. And I'll even say one thing on that. Dave Ramsey, like the finance guy, he always says if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not deep enough, right?
wow.
My right now I'm in a fortunate position to where we're expecting our second child in March. And so it's funny how my training has
Wow, congrats,
changed.
by the way.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm so excited. A little girl. So
Oh, nice.
so I know you've got a little girl, so like there's
Yeah.
nothing better, right? Like that's just the best. But my training philosophy and style has shifted to where now with Coach Jason, it's a focus on I'm actually training to be in shape for when my daughter's born. As you know, when the youngins come on, like there's not a lot of sleep going on, right? Like it's easier to have valid excuses, not that, you should always kind of default to that, but that's my focus now is like how much weight can I cut to where I am at a good place to maintain once Lila's here, right?
That's amazing, dude. I absolutely love that. And honestly, I couldn't agree more having gone through it myself now today. 10 months old, I'm just sitting there taking the photo. I'm like, wow. I'm getting hit with all those reels where they just, share the dad, to a daughter reels, all that stuff. And I'm just
Yep.
sitting there, I'm like, oh, but man, that's incredible. So like throughout this whole journey and the last little bit, like, would you say what kind of setbacks I love learning from people's setbacks, by the way,
Yeah,
and I'm sure you do too. Because like,
absolutely.
if someone has a journey and it's just linear, and it's like, hey, I hit this PR, I hit this, oh, cool. It's like that's
Yeah.
fun and all, but it's like, what challenges have you gone through that you're really happy to say you've overcome?
I love this. And I would like to second that. I think the challenges you overcome truly can be the most important part. Everyone wants to share their wins. I love sharing on Instagram like my walks and my workouts, being at the gym at 4:50. But there are those days where I hit snooze, right? Like we all kind of go through different phases. And so for me, some of the things that are challenging or can be challenging is I recently took on a new role with a company, and I travel a lot. I'm in the hospitality and tourism industry, and I work for an agency. So part of my role is to travel to get FaceTime with my partners and clients. And that can be challenging, right? Like you take away the routine that you're used to, and you're putting yourself in different positions. I was actually at a conference a couple weeks ago where there was no gym at the resort.
Hmm.
So I literally had to like I had a friend that was there. I borrowed her rental car and like went to a little gym like right down the road, right? So you start to kind of see like there are challenges that are presented with travel, but how you adapt to those challenges is everything. One of the things I struggle with is I love drinking. Like I'm whining and dining clients constantly. I love having fun. I'm always kind of the life of the party. And now, especially with this challenge, it's taking a step back and understanding like, hey, we don't have to be drinking all the time. It's good to take months off here and there. But I still slip up. I love a good IPA. Like at the end of a day, I really do. And I love taking people out and drinking with them. So that's one. The other one too is, and Coach Jason would be the first to tell you this, perfection is
Hmm.
it's a two-edged sword, right? On one end, it's good to like have the drive to set goals and to really batten down the hatches and get stuff done. On the other side, when I do fail, which I will and I do, I'm too hard on myself. And that honestly is a challenge point for me. I always want to be making forward progress. And when I see the scale not going down, quick enough, I get frustrated. And then that can lead to other things. So again, it's never let failure be the reason you don't succeed. And overcoming that is kind of key. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's things like eating sweets, drinking, missing workout days. I love that saying that you guys always say, like, never miss twice. Like, I really, if I make one mistake, I try not to make that mistake again. But life happens. And it's what you do once you do fail that really like speaks to your character and what you overcome. I know you recently had Taylor on the podcast, and what an amazing story that she had to present to this audience. My transformation hasn't been that drastic, but I have, kind of overcome a lot of little things. And again, it's what you do with those that kind of defines your progress.
I think we're gonna have to coin that quote that you shared, like Caleb Sullivan, just put in quotations, hang it up on the wall. Like that'll be my next quote for our next Motivation Monday.
There you go.
But I think that's great. And even just on that note, like it's funny because people will see someone who posts their consistent habits like yourself, your walks, your consistent workouts, all that stuff. And myself as a fitness coach, and they're like, oh, they just that's who they are. It's like it's so easy for them. It's they've created these habits, and yes, we have, but it's like there will always be these temptations. Like there will always be times where you're just like, ah man, like the sweets, there's
Yeah.
drinking opportunities, there's you could miss a workout. It's just like it's you just always have to try to make that better decision. And it's like a constant battle. Cause even for myself, if I wanted to do just what like I really wanted to, like I would just not track my calories. I would
Yep.
just go out to eat every day. I would go out to the whatever and just, I don't always love it, but I know it's good for me. And bringing it back to that why for your daughter, for your son, for, the people around you, for your grandkids, future grandkids, like it's all important. So I really like what you said there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the other part of this too, right? Like it's life is made of choices. And we have choices every day that we have to, make. What's important is setting the foundation for your day rooted in choices that are going to affect you positively in the long term. I'm in a new role and, I do a lot of talking around like professional development and growth in our industry. Well, fitness at the core really sets me up for my day. And you know this, Kyle, and listeners here, whether you work out or you don't, you can, at some point understand that when you work out in the morning or whenever you have little wins, it really carries you through the rest of your day. I'm in a very high demand job. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I can't be the best employee that I can be if I don't get my workout in. And whether that workout is an hour and a half of lifting or a 30-minute walk, as I know you like to do in the morning, that is where like whatever that thing is, you have to check that off of your list to really set down the foundation for the rest of your day. Um, so I think that's important too. When you're looking down this opportunity for listeners out there who have not made that step, you haven't hired a coach or you haven't really started your journey, you're thinking maybe I'll do it in the new year, maybe I'll do it next week, whatever. It looks daunting, but it's all about taking little steps to propel you in the right direction. And those little habits will, add to big things down the road that are beneficial for your health.
What would you say are some of those like little habits you have that have a massive impact? One of those keystone habits.
Yeah, yeah. For me, when I'm home and not traveling, there's a little dynamic there. But when I'm home, I'm up at 4:15 every morning. I know if I don't get my workout in, if I don't get to the gym, if I don't get my walk in, because I kind of do all three of those things, then my day will suffer. So it's getting up at 4:15. I know you guys talk a lot about pre-logging. That's something I'm trying to incorporate more of because I do a meal prep every week. So it's like I know what I'm going to eat, right? Like I might as well just plug it in. So pre-logging's been helpful. And then the biggest one, and Coach Jason would agree with this, is giving myself grace, right? Like at some point, again, you will fail, kind of taking a step back and looking at where you've gone to this point and what's gotten you there, and just being like, hey, that's cool. We're going to move on past this. We're not going to stew in this and let this be the reason that we don't succeed.
That's great. And even because I know so many people who have the great intention of getting up at a certain time, like,
Yeah.
are there any things that really help you aside from your deeper why and whatnot, like stay consistent with that early wake up time?
Yeah, for me, a couple of things. So my best friend also, he has two little ones. So we actually talk, this might be a little backwards, but like we talk on the phone like while I'm working out. So like I know I've got like that time with my friend to just like catch up, which is huge. Um, and I know he's going to call me out if I don't get up at 4:15 and we
Mm,
don't get to talk on the phone.
that's great.
Yeah, accountability is everything. And then the other thing too is I do like posting my not necessarily my workouts, but I like posting like 4:50 a.m. I'm at the gym, like time to go get it, and then I like posting my walks. So I like having that level of accountability to like, I don't know if anyone on Instagram cares, but like to me, I'm like I have to get up and post it because like I have to get up and do it. Is something that really helps me.
It's funny because when I was doing marathon training and whatnot, like it was just early hours.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. My biggest motivator was my Strava. Like on
Yep. Yep.
my 30-kilometer run, I'd be thinking, all right, what's the caption going to be? And I'm excited to post this. Like it is really good to have, obviously, and that's where I think some people struggle is they don't have a good balance of it. Like those deeper internal kind of like reasons and why, and then also
Yeah.
the little external things, the posting, the show up at a barbecue, you're looking good, like whatever it is, like those things are just as important. Even your accountability partner, like that's such a massive tip. I think a lot of people could integrate into their life as well.
Yeah.
But on that
Absolutely.
note, and I'm kind of curious because you have a home gym and that's where you
Mhm.
work out. Like, how has that helped you out? What kind of equipment do you have? And I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this was kind of a passion project of my other best friend and I. So he bought a home and he had this massive garage he was using for storage. He is a bodybuilder and a physical therapist. So like that is his world, right? It's like fitness and wellness. And I was like, hey man, if we go in halvesies, would you be down to like put a gym in your garage? And he lives like 2 minutes down the road.
Mm,
So where that kind of spawned from was we don't have a lot of nice gyms where I live. I live in a very rural area. And so I was thinking, I was like, I bet we could probably make a gym nicer than 90% of the gyms in this area. Um, and so we did, and it took a lot of elbow grease, a lot of Facebook Marketplace finds, a lot of budgeting. But we ended up doing it. And what's cool about that gym is we built it around our goals. So a lot of times, when you go to a gym, whatever they have is what they have, and you're like waiting for equipment. But we're like, no, no, no. Can we get a pendulum squat? Can we get like a leg extension, leg curl machine? Like, can we get a Smith machine with like a 45-pound weight? So it's like a real Smith, right? Like where it actually feels like you're doing the work. And so we built it around like what we wanted. Um, one of the things you guys talk about that I think is dead on is fitness is an investment. I think there is a monetary aspect to it if you can't afford it. I believe step number one before even considering a home gym, if you have access to a gym, is hiring a coach. I think that's foundational, that accountability that, you guys always say, let us do the hard work for you. Boom, right on the money. It makes life a lot easier. But if you can go into this kind of next level of, starting your own home gym, just start small. Start with what you can afford. If you have the space, make space. I have a really good buddy of mine who's kind of starting, or he's like an older friend, but he's like starting his own fitness channel, and he's just got a bench and a squat rack in his basement, and that's like his thing. He lifts. Shout out to Cole Young, and it's cool to see. You can have a gym as advanced as ours, or you can have just a couple pieces of equipment. But I would say start with the coach and use what you have, and then kind of work up to it.
that's awesome. Yeah, even just having it so close to you is beneficial, right? It takes out the temptation of like, oh, I gotta drive half an hour. Like in your
Yeah.
case, you'd have to probably, right?
It used to be, yeah, it was 20 minutes one way to get to my gym. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So even on that note, because I keep thinking like the consistent morning walks, right? Because that's something you're big on sharing.
Yeah.
I know before you were running though, you dealt with that calf injury. Like, how have you adjusted mentally from being that like, and even this was a hard challenge for me, like that runner, run
Yeah.
every day, cool posts, you're sweating,
Yeah.
you're dying to then being like, hey, I'm just gonna go on a nice consistent walk. Like, how has that changed for you?
Yeah, it came down to what's really important to me. I loved running, and I still there's a special place in my heart for it. And if there's a good time, I'll come back to it. But essentially, what happened was I had a minor, it was just like a minor grade one sprain in my left calf, like nothing, or grade one strain, not even a sprain in my left calf.
Hmm.
And again, Asa, my best friend, being a PT, like working with me, he was like, hey, these are the exercises. I was doing it. And every now and again, I can feel it. And it comes down to what's more important to me running, and I used to do an hour of lifting and a 5K every morning. That was kind of my cadence. A 5K, and then some days I'd lift less and run a little further, like 4 or 5 miles. But it ended up being, do I want to walk and get my steps like we're doing for the challenge and enjoy that time with my wife and my son when we get walk number 3 in and taking some time away on my lunch break and taking a walk? Or do I want to run in the mornings, potentially keep injuring myself and not get that time with my family? And it came down to I would rather walk in no pain than to run and forego those opportunities, right? And walking is so fun. I come up with a lot of ideas. Again, like it's dark. Like this morning when I was walking, it was dark at like, 6:15 or whatever. And I'm coming up with ideas for my work day. I'm ideating stuff for clients and prospects. I'm talking a lot of times with my friend Tyler. We're talking about career stuff. And it's just a good opportunity to enjoy serenity in the morning and then in the afternoon catch up with my wife and talk about her day. So 28 hit me hard. In the same week I turned 28, I strained that calf and I actually hurt my wrist a little bit too. And again, you have to be dynamic and you have to understand that injuries happen no matter how good your form is in one way or another, and just adjust accordingly.
I think that was so well said. And even when you think about it, like the amount of times people are looking for those things on their journey to be like, all right, this is my sign. Like I'm getting
Yep.
old, just stop doing it. And I really encourage anyone, and especially for your situation, for Taylor, it's like, how can we make this work? And obviously having someone on the other side be able to help out with that and give some suggestions and keep you calm and collected is helpful. But it's like whenever something happens, just keep your mindset right, try to find different solutions, and just don't give up. I think that was a very great point that you brought up.
Yeah.
And even on that note, like so many people, they'll look at walking and they're just like, oh, it's not enough. Like it doesn't do anything. I don't feel a burn or sweat. It's like, okay, believe me when I say it, it is one of the greatest forms of cardio, in my opinion. And I'm sure you agree as well.
Absolutely. And the thing about it too is like kind of like I alluded to, you get to do with other people. Like my
Hmm.
wife is not a runner. Like she's not gonna go run a 5K with me, but she'll walk 2 miles with me consistently every day. So
Yeah.
again, you kind of look at what you've got and you make adjustments accordingly. And that to me, walking is the best use. It takes a little longer than running to get the mileage you want, but it's the best use of my time right now, right? It might change, it might shift as my goals change a little bit, but for right now and for the future, it's perfect.
And even on that note, I just keep thinking as well about like your travels, right? You know, you're busy, you got a lot going on. What kind of tips do you have for anyone who struggles? Like I find a lot of people once they step foot on a plane or in a different place, their journey's done. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
had a bad week. I may as well give up. You know, once again, looking for those excuses. But what tips do you have for someone who struggles with this?
Plan around the week. So for me, if I know I'm going to be gone Tuesday to Friday, which is pretty typical, I'll make sure to work out I'll work out the full week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday morning if I have enough time before my flight, and then I use the rest as like rest days, or I find one day looking at my schedule where I know I can get a workout in the morning. So again, it's proactivity. The other thing is around diet, which I think you could agree might be the most challenging part. It's just always focusing on the macros. So, like for me, I go to like a lot of conferences, and I always get like razzed by my friends because like I don't eat salads. I always say like the Ron Swanson quote, like that's the food my food eats. I don't recommend that for everyone, by the way. If you like salads, go eat them. But what I like to do is just protein first and then little bits here and there. You can usually assume there's like little pieces of conference chicken is what I call it. It's about 4 ounces of chicken, so kind of like stack that up, give or take depending on what you need. And then that's the hardest part is the diet. You can get a workout in here and there, but really be cognizant of what you're eating. And then for me too, with the drinking, if I know I want to have a drink or two, I'll pre-log. Usually turns into a couple more. So a lot of times what I'll do is, especially if I'm doing a challenge, I just like won't drink at conferences and I'll just like let my friends know ahead of time and like no one really cares. A lot of times you're the one pressuring yourself into it, right? Like whether you
Mhm.
admit it or not, like you're kind of the one nudging yourself in that direction. Everyone's like, cool, whatever. And yeah, that you can still have fun, and drink and not drink and be healthy and be up, working out the next morning.
I think that's great because once again, when it comes down to the journey, it's a lifelong process, right? And the amount of people who just think, oh, I'm just going to meal prep and bring my Tupperware everywhere and just never have a drink and never have a dessert or whatever. It's like you can do that for a few weeks, don't get me wrong, but it's
Right.
like I don't love hearing about people's journey until they've reached that point of like, okay, I've done it for a while. I've showed
Yeah.
up for myself because that's to me what's most important, right? It's like how can we make this sustainable? And even on your note, it's like we could say, hey, Caleb, like never do this ever again. And once again, you'll see great results, but it's like you travel, you have clients, you have kids, you have things going on. And that's where
Yeah.
I believe most people struggle. And that's why we try to create every part of this journey like based off of your situation and what you actually need.
Yeah. And that's key. And I know you've talked about it before. Like you could theoretically plug in a prompt to ChatGPT, right? Like everyone's like, oh, I could do this in chat, I could do that in chat. Well, when I am looking at a long week ahead of me and I know I need accountability and I can reach out to Coach Jason and be like, hey, this is what I've got on the books. Is there anything I'm missing here? Is there any advice you could give me? Having that accountability and that resource in your back pocket in a personalized way is key. Um, you know, kind of going on a small tangent here, but I believe, in the human connection. And I think that's one thing that you guys offer through your coaching that should not be missed. Having someone there to work through it with you, to give you advice that's relevant to you is kind of key because with all this travel, with all these life changes, it's not easy. And it's important to lean on people whenever you're working through some of this stuff.
I think that's great. It's so funny because even the other day, someone asked me about that. They're like, well, couldn't ChatGPT make me a workout? I'm like, yeah, but you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Bingo.
even if
Bingo.
it was perfect and they had like the top people like creating that workout and they give you the best periodized routine, I'm like, you're still not going to show up. Like
Yeah.
that's the big part is that the actual accountability and the person who can deeply connect with you to help you during this, So great point there. And so you'd obviously say, the accountability, the community, all that stuff has played a big role in your success on your journey so far.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and I'll kind of take Taylor brought up something that I don't want to miss. She said that there was a time in her life where she kind of stepped away from the coaching program and like gained some weight and realized, it was time to kind of get back into it with Coach Armando. For me, funny enough, toward the end of my first run with you guys, I like wasn't messaging back, like I wasn't doing my check-ins. I was like, okay, like I'm a failure. I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna kind of quietly like waft away. And Coach Jason texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm just checking in. Like, are you good?" Like, very caring. And honestly, I kind of laid out where I was mentally. I was dealing with some seasonal depression and stuff, and just laid it out to him. He's like, "Look, I'm not gonna judge you whether you come back or not. I just wanted to make sure you're okay." And honestly, like coming back into the program and now consistently working with you guys for almost a year, I can look back and say like that moment where I was kind of like on the fence, and just the level of care I received from my coach really helped motivate me to keep this progress going. And now that's where we are today, 30 pounds down just with you guys, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's great. Like I know Coach Jason's the best, so I gotta give him a shout out here as well.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, such an incredible coach. Our whole team's amazing, and I'm very grateful for that as well. But so grateful for all our amazing clients, similar to yourself, Taylor, and we'll keep bringing more people on here who've just showed up, invested in themselves. Like I've so much credit for you guys just taking that first leap, sending that first message, and just actually consistently showing up. So you deserve some credit as well. But yeah, like on that note, I guess even when it comes down to it, like when you find yourself in a negative headspace and you're kind of struggling and whatnot, like what have you found to be useful to keep pushing forward, to keep showing up for yourself?
Yeah, for me, it'd be getting down to that deeper why.
Mm.
I think that's key. One of the things I'm actually working now with Jason on is what my goals are for kind of like our next like time together, our next kind of cycle. And one of the things he's talking about is like finding like I think it's like your 7 layers deep, like why.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I want a good physique. Well, why? I want to be healthy. Well, why? And kind of like digging deep. Um, obviously my why is my kids, but their goals I have aside, like I want to have, a good physique. I want to look athletic. These are things I didn't have when I was younger, so I feel like I'm really chasing those. And those on the surface won't get you to the gym in the morning. What'll get you to the gym is realizing I want to be playing with my grandkids, if not my great grandkids. That is what gets me up in the morning.
Dude, that's so inspiring, honestly. And even with that as well, something I really wanted to touch on is the concept of the challenges, right? So
Yeah.
Caleb here is a champion of one of our amazing challenges. Shout out to Caleb. But obviously right now as we're recording this, it's our final week of the challenge. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how has these challenges helped you, and what would you say about them?
Yeah, well, what was really cool about the first challenge, the one that I won, was I had a block in my head. This has happened to me twice in my coaching journey. The first time was Coach Jason, I can't get below 210. I haven't been below 210 in years. I don't think I can do it. Totally eclipsed that. Then when that next challenge started, I was like, Coach Jason, I can't get below 205. Well, then at the end of that, I think I was down to like 196, 197, right? And in a month of just dialing in, putting aside the noise, putting aside the things we know that don't work, like drinking doesn't help you, right? Like on your fitness journey at all. So putting that aside. Um, with the challenges, there's a couple of cool things that happen. One is you're going through it with a lot of other people. So that's like, hey, we're all doing this. We're doing it with you guys, right? Like that's another part of this. The second part is we have accountability through check-ins and through the process, but there's something about that checkbox of like, ooh, I got to get my steps. Ooh, I've got to read my book. Another thing too, kind of a side note, one of the things in the challenges, if people aren't familiar, is this element of like personal growth. I've been reading Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia, which is like an awesome book I've heard you guys talk about. And that has kind of helped me with this lens of longevity for the right reasons and having health span as opposed to lifespan. So there's also that kind of element too, where not only are you ticking off boxes that are going to help with your health, you're also ticking off a box that's going to help with your mental acuity and development. So the challenges are great. One of the things I would say about the challenges, I think it's a great place to start. I think if I know you guys do a really good job of like providing deals around the challenges, I would kind of echo that. If you're worried about taking that first step, I think that first challenge is a great place to start.
Yeah, we're already starting to plan our New Year's one, which is super
Can't freaking
exciting.
wait, man. Let's go.
Especially because this is what it goes. It's been so great, and even what I love about these is, and it's it's not as intense as 75 hard. It's
Yep.
we create it so it's sustainable, but even like I'm already thinking of, okay, how do I want to take what I've been doing for the last 30 days and then put a spin on it, and
Yeah.
like maybe not do all of the stuff, but like keep some of these levels and, maybe bring back a couple different things and try to maintain it all. Like it, and that's where I think some people struggle is they'll see challenges, they'll do some things, and then everything just completely goes out the window. You say, hey,
Yeah.
I've done 75 hard, awesome, you can post about it, but it's like, well, then you just go back to your old ways. It's like it's not the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of dovetailing on that, I was talking with Coach Jason. I'm like, I want to extend this out at least 2 weeks. I'm
Yeah,
like, why not run it through October 10th is what we're doing. Um, and not because I didn't see the results I wanted to see or this or that. It was just like, I think I can do 2 more weeks. Just like you
yeah.
grow when you're slightly uncomfortable. And for me, I'm like not drinking for another 2 weeks, really dialing in on the steps, really focusing on the nutrition. What bad could come out of that, right? Like, why not? Let's take another 2 weeks.
Exactly. And so I'm curious, like if anyone were to be listening to this, hey, they've been listening for a while, they've been on the fence thinking, coaching, I don't know about it. Like I hear
Yeah.
them talk about it all the time. Like if someone's on the fence, what would you have to say about them? And by the way, before you answer this, I just want to say I have not shared any questions with Caleb. This is just him on the spot, just sharing all this great information. Which, man, you've got a like you're a great podcaster. I think you're gonna have to make one soon. Like for you to just have your second interview now, I am quite impressed. I'll give you that. But anyways, I'm curious to see what
Sure.
you have to say.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And I can say I'm shooting from the hip here. This is just, I found when you're talking about things you're passionate about,
Hmm.
it really helps.
Yeah.
And I will kind of go back. So the first time I listened to your podcast was in late 2020, I believe. I originally reached out to you guys, and I wasn't ready to make that kind of commitment yet. I was like, I'll just wing it on my own. And it took me from 2020 to 2024, fall of 24, to actually make that commitment to myself. I would say, like, don't make the same mistake I made. I would, if you're curious, if you are really wanting to see transformation and change, and you don't know where to start, don't start by wasting time. That's not going to help you. Start by making that commitment to yourself, making that commitment to your health, because you're going to look back in a few years and be like, I'm so glad I made that choice. Whereas I can look back now and say, God, I wish I would have done it 4 years ago. Right. So, yeah, go ahead and do it. Nike is famous for that. Just do it.
That's great. Yeah, honestly, and hey, if you are someone who wants to get next level results, you want to see change, we'll also give Caleb some kickback as well. And we appreciate you being on here. Just message us, Caleb. CALEB to Instagram at Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT. Guaranteed results or your money back. No risk involved. But one last thing, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I think I know the
Sure.
answer to this. What is your favorite quote? That's the way I like to end these episodes.
My favorite quote, comparison is the thief of joy. And the reason is, I've spent all this time trying to like build this like rock solid physique, and I missed that the whole point was just to do the best I can for my family. Comparison is the thief of joy. Never get in your head like that. It's a sad and dark place to be.
Wow, that is great. And also, you had that other quote that you had shared. That's
Oh
another
yeah,
one of your
never
favorites,
let failure be the reason you don't succeed. That's a Caleb
dude.
Sullivan
Yeah,
special right there for you.
we're gonna have to put that up somewhere. But honestly, it's funny because even every single one of you awesome people, like even after having Taylor last week, it's like we're all the same people. We're all driven. We're all trying to get to the next level. I'm like, I hear
Yep.
you guys spewing some quotes and sharing all this personal growth stuff. I'm like, yes, like we really have built like an amazing community of just people who are looking to be better. Like even if you're listening to this podcast right now, you have a desire to be better, right? And
Hmm.
that's what it's all about. So I'm so grateful as I sit here, even just to see what we've built, to be sitting in front of you right now, having lost 30 pounds, having overcome some struggles. So really, really happy to have you here, Caleb.
Yeah, and I'm very honored to be here. And if you guys want to follow along with my morning walks and workouts, my Instagram handle is mountain_man_Caleb. So find me there. And I'd be happy to message any of you guys if you have questions from the client side. Just shoot me a note, and I'd be happy to get back to you.
And that was exactly what my last question was going to be, is where can we find you and learn more about your journey? So we will toss that down in the show notes. It will be the second link there, just to the Instagram. Put the name there as well, so you can click it directly and follow along with his motivation, because Caleb is truly inspiring. He's showing up for himself. He's he's a true living legend of, like, he's not just someone who says, "Oh, get out for a morning walk. Hey, just wake up early." Like, he's actually doing it, which I think is inspiring, versus some people who will post the odd one and say, "Oh, look at my life," and they're just randomly showing up, right? So thank you so much to everyone listening. We appreciate it. Make sure to go follow Caleb. Message us on Instagram, Caleb, as well, if you want to join coaching, get guaranteed results, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.